Hello, hi and welcome back to the Highland Homestead. Apologies for the noise, we've just got a flyover of two of the army vehicle, Air Force vehicles that normally fly over for training, so it might be a tiny bit loud. So today, or this week, well, as you're probably aware from our previous videos, our pigs are hopefully covered by the board that we had to rent. So what we're doing now is we are building them a farrowing pen. So because there are two of them, we are going to build two pens, but we're going to build them next to each other so that the sows can still interact with each other through a fence. Because for pigs, fence line or contact, and they're very social animals, so we want to maintain social contact between them. So what we have is, up at the top end of their field they're currently in, we have built a pallet wall, and this is to ensure that we have an area here that we can use for getting the sheep in and out, or for holding animals, so that we can take them off or onto the homestead, or if we want to check them. So we've got a pallet fencing, and that does a very good job of keeping the pigs from coming up here. But what we want to do is we want to use the fact that this is quite a narrow channel with a fence there and a fence just there, in order to have a small pen for each of the sows and their piglets. So as you can see, I've put a little fence, a little gate in already, and one post. And then what we're going to have is, on this side we're going to have the house, and the house is going to be joined together, and it's going to have the fence come out the middle of it, and that will mean that the heat can be shared between the two pigs and all the litter, meaning that the internal temperature of the house will be warmer, but they won't have any contact within it. So there'll be a half wall inside, or a 3/4 wall inside, so air can still circulate around it, but so they have enough space that they have their own individual piglets and the sows, so that there's no crossover of piglets or sows. So we're going to have a pen here and then a pen just the other side. They're both going to be approximately the same side. I think this top one's going to be slightly smaller, so will probably be for the smaller pig to go in. And as you can see, there's going to be, so I've done the fence line here, and we're going to put a fence line here, probably instead of this pallet fence, so we can use the pallets, and then a fence at the other end. You can see a slightly wider post just there, that one there. That is going to be the other end of it. So the whole thing is, they're going to have about 5 meters by 9 meters each, which is a decent enough size for them to have a litter, and it means we can focus on, we can have them kept separate, and we can check them all and keep a closer eye on them, because we can see them from the house ideally as well, which is perfect for us. They are due hopefully around February, beginning middle to end of February, we believe. But we didn't keep the boar in for one day, we kept the boar in for a while, so we have quite a wide period of time, which is why we wanted slightly bigger pens. The other benefit of the gate is it means we can have the gate open, so while they're not in actually farrowing, the pigs can mooch between the two areas, or the two sows can mooch between the two areas and keep in contact with each other, because we would ideally like to bring them up into this pen as soon as possible. It also means that we can rest the bottom half as well. So I'm going to get on with working in a couple of posts. We've got some posts to whack in. Today I think we're only going to do the posts because we've got this mesh panel to go in next time, and we've also got a reel of stock fencing to do the other ends. However, also today we've got a nicer day. I mean, nicer, it's 2 degrees, so take that as you will, and that's Celsius, thankfully. But yeah, so we also want, while the ground's slightly thawed, we want to also dig a couple more of our our veg beds down the bottom, which need doing before springtime. So I will get on with it. My partner might put a time lapse up just to see it going on, but it's literally going to be a case of knocking in two posts, so we'll see about it. Alright, I'll let you see it when they are in, or what we will probably do is we'll leave it for this video, and then next time when we've got the panels going in, we'll show you exactly what we've done in the in this period. But I shall see you in a bit. Hello and welcome back to a lovely day here at the Highland Homestead. So, second part of the pig building or pig enclosure building video. So all the posts are now in. We did have a couple of days where we couldn't do it. We've got snow on the ground, which is one of the reasons, and the second reason is because our horses needed a temporary barn being built. So we have instead we had to turn the carport into a barn. I'm just showing you the sheep as they're on their way up. That's why the camera's been turned around. As you can see, they're still in the big field enjoying life, grazing, and hopefully the ewes will be hopefully the ewes are in lamb, and we'll hopefully have some lambs on the homestead soon as well. But yeah, so today our aim is we need to get this mesh panel in here. This area here will be for the house that we're going to build, which is a house that will join both paddocks. And then we also have a roll of stock fencing that we're going to put at the end and potentially at this end as well, which will mean requiring the removal of this pallet wall. The sheep are coming to say hello, so I'll just give you a view of what the sheep are doing. So they're all looking good. So obviously you here, our ram, he's still in with them because if he's covered them, that's great. If he hasn't, we're not too fussed if we have a latter one anyway. But yeah, they're all very happy. They've still got grass poking through the snow as well, so they're all happy. And the pigs have even come up to say hello as well, which is nice. So I'm going to clamber in with the pigs, and I shall hand you over for a time lapse. There they go. Yeah, so I shall hand you over to a time lapse of the fencing going up. Right, see you in a little bit. Hello and welcome to a very windy the Highland Homestead. We'll just open the door and allow the light to come in. You can see the trays swinging in the wind behind me up there. Yeah, so as you can see, very gusty winds out here. We've got snow storming around. That is the snow that you see right around is the snow that was on the ground originally. It's very windy, you won't hear it through the mic, so I'm going to go back indoors to the comfort of the building. As you can tell, it's a bit less windy in here. So what we're doing is we are using things we have on the homestead, hence cable ties and knot bolts and nuts, to create a pig house for farrowing. It will go in the field. It's going to be sheltered with a tarp, and it's going to have pallets as the walls to protect the top, but we're using a greenhouse, a polytunnel arch that we have lying around that we're going to use for it. What I'm now going to do is turn the camera around, put it onto a time lapse, and you can see us build it. All right. Hello and welcome back to the Highland Homestead. So just down here now with our pig house. So it's now in the pig paddock. So we've got another pallet to put in and just need to tie the tarp down on that side, and obviously put a bedding in, and we still have snow on the ground, but yeah, it's quite a nice size. I mean, you can sort of see it's a 2 pallets wide, pallet deep, which is quite nice, and the same on that side. So we're going to have most likely pie on that side and truffle on this side, because this side is a slightly bigger pasture for, or paddock for her, and she's a bigger pig. I do have to just finish the fence over there. I just need to, it's a bit of fence there that I just need to attach that post, and that post is to put that gate onto, so that I can secure it to that point. Then they'll be entirely locked in this area. We've got reeds for bedding for them, to be determined. So the structure itself has held up well to the wind that we had last night. We ended up screwing it through with blocks and decking screws, and then cutting the length of the decking screw off. But yeah, it's a nice house. It's obviously got a bit of gap at the bottom which air will pass through. However, we're going to stuff bags of some wool in between all the pallets, just to give it that insulation, which should benefit the piglets especially. We'll need to put a board across the front for the sows to be able to go over, but the piglets not. And then that will be done probably closer to farrowing time though, because we'll let the snow melt away, and then I'll dig so that I make sure it's a level board, and then it will be a case of just sorting out all of this area for them really. But yeah, so pallet to do, fence to do, gate to do possibly today, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. We'll try and get the pigs in here today if we can though, because then they'll get used to it and they'll start building their own nests. But yeah, so see you in a little bit. Right, so that is the pig enclosure pretty much finished. The only thing left is the gate at the end, which we're going to use baling twine to seal shut, so that if we need to get them out quickly we can, and it's likely to hold a bit better than the basic garden bolts that we have here. I think a pig will bend them in half, to be honest. So yeah, we're going to use baling twine to hold the gates together. They obviously need bedding still, and we need to put some wool in between the pallets, but that will be for later. At the moment the pigs aren't even crossing the waterway in the middle of their field, because they're not sure how deep it is, etc. They're pretty intelligent animals actually. Yeah, so they won't do it because they don't know how deep it is, and they won't bother crossing it, and they don't know what's underneath the snow on the other side. So they're staying where they know they're safe. But that is it for this week's video. If you have any questions or comments or things that you think we could have done differently, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Any advice is greatly appreciated. Helpful advice, that is. But yeah, it's just rough and ready, throwing stuff together that we've got on site, because of the fact that we have snow here, which means we can't get out, and it is a job that needed doing. That is it for this week's video though. Thank you very much, and please like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.